What if I told you that the Glock you're about to buy could be a disaster waiting to happen? And one of them, it's been known to literally blow up in people's hands. Sounds extreme, right? Well, it's the harsh truth. Some Glocks are hyped to death, but trust me, they'll drain your wallet and leave you hanging when you need them the most. Glock pistols are known for their reliability, but not all models live up to the hype. In fact, some could seriously fail you when you need them most, whether it's a misfire, malfunction, or simply poor design. In this video, we're uncovering the 5 pistols you should never buy, and we're about to show you why they're the last thing you want in your hands. I've learned that the hard way, and I'm about to share why these 5 models are the ones you'll want to avoid at all costs. Alright, let's talk about the Glock 26, the so-called baby Glock. I get it. People love this little thing. Back in 1995, it was a game changer. Small, easy to carry, and the kind of gun you could slip into your pocket and feel all tactical with. But guess what? It's 2025 now, and if you're still hanging on to this thing, you're living in the past. Let me break it to you straight. The Glock 26 is a relic. Yeah, it was ahead of its time back in the day, but now it's like showing up to a tech conference with a flip phone. Sure, it may work, but is it really the best option? Hell no. I mean, compare this to today's micro 9mm like the SICK P365 or Springfield Hellcat. It's not even close. The Glock 26 is bulky, and with that thicker grip, 1.38 inches to be exact, and clunky frame, it's like trying to hide a brick in your waistband. Modern pistols are slimmer, lighter, and still pack 12 to 15 rounds. The 26's 10-round magazine feels outdated in 2025. Now don't get me wrong, the Glock 26 is reliable. I've heard guys swear they've put over 14,000 rounds through theirs without a hitch. But let me tell you, reliability isn't everything, and it definitely doesn't make up for how hard it is to manage in a high-pressure situation. Take John, just a regular guy from Texas with a concealed carry permit. One night, he's at a gas station when 2 shady guys start walking towards him. He pulls out his Glock 26, but the grip's too bulky and the sight radius is garbage. He misses the first shot. Just like that, his confidence goes down the drain. After that night, he switched to the SICK P365, which was thinner, had more rounds to it, and actually felt good when the pressure was on. And let's talk about comfort. Do you carry this thing every day? Because if you do, you're in for a rude awakening. The grip is thick and prints like crazy under your clothes. If you're going to carry a gun all day, it should feel like it's a part of you, not like you're smuggling a brick. And let's not even get into that 10-round mag. It's a joke. In today's world of concealed carry, you need more than 10 rounds. The Glock 26 feels outclassed by every modern carry gun that can still pack more firepower without adding bulk. Even police officers are ditching it. Using it as a backup gun? Forget it. It's too uncomfortable and too bulky for ankle carry. The Glock 43 is a better option. Here's the truth. The Glock 26 had its day, but that day is long gone. There are better options now, guns that are easier to carry, have more capacity, and actually feel good when you draw them. The Glock 26? It's not a piece of history worth holding on to. But hold up, before you go thinking Glocks completely failed you, wait until you see the next one. The Glock 29 is a powerhouse that might blow up in your hands. Stick around, you're not going to want to miss this. Now the Glock 29. This one nearly blew my hands off. What if I told you that a Glock 29, yes, your precious Glock, could literally explode in your hands? Sounds like the stuff of nightmares, right? Well, buckle up, because this is no exaggeration. In fact, it happened to a forum user named Sombra back in 2013, and trust me, his story is one Glock owners need to hear. Somber decided to take his Glock 29, a solid 10mm pistol, and modify it. Yep, because why not push a gun to its absolute limits, right? He swapped in a lone wolf conversation barrel to shoot cheaper 40 S&W ammo, tossed in a 21-pound recoil spring, and even did a grip reduction to improve handling. Sounds good so far, right? Well, it gets wild. For ammo, he picked up some Swamp Fox 40 cal rounds loaded hot at 165 grains and pushing 1,325 FPS. Sure, the rounds were nearly 3 years old, but hey, he'd shot them before without any issue. Everything was fine during the practice session until he went for a double tap. You know, 2 quick shots in a row, and then out of nowhere, boom, the gun exploded. The magazine was ejected, a small plastic piece blew out of the frame, and cracks appeared near the trigger and magazine release. Oh, and did I forget to mention that a spent shell got lodged in the barrel while a live round popped right out? You can imagine the intense heat, right? The magazine, it was melting. Now Sombra, bruised, shaken, and definitely not a happy camper. His right hand was a mess, bruised, burned, swollen, and discolored. He couldn't even hold a gun for weeks. The fingers were intact, but the psychological damage, that's real. Forum users quickly dissected the incident, and the verdict? The ammo. The Swamp Fox rounds had an insane 10 grains of powder, more than the recommended 8.2 grains from Hodgdon or 7.3 from Hornady. That extra powder pushed the pressure in the Glock's chamber way past safe limits, and the Lone Wolf barrel's tight tolerances made things even worse. Some speculated it was a squib load, a misfire leaving a bullet stuck in the barrel, but Sombra knew better. He quarantined the rest of the rounds, tossed the damaged magazine, and swore never to trust that modified Glock ever again. But just when you think you've got the Glock world figured out, let me tell you about the Glock 37, the supposed savior of the .45 caliber world. Or is it? Trust me, you won't believe the shocking flaws this one's hiding. It was supposed to be the best demo ever. The crowd was hyped, all eyes on the New York State police officer holding the powerful Glock 37. The gun, strong, sleek, and packing that .45 gap round designed to be a game changer. Smaller than the .45 ACP, but just as deadly. Glock was confident, the officer was confident, but in a split second, everything went south. Bam! The Glock 37 jammed, not once, but twice. Imagine the scene. Hundreds of people watching, all expecting to be blown away, and instead, complete silence. That gun was supposed to impress, but now it's just another disappointment. And here's where it gets worse. It failed in the middle of a live police demo. The officer stayed cool, doing the whole tap rack bang thing like a pro, clearing the jams in a matter of seconds, but let's be real, the damage was already done. The crowd saw it. The Glock 37 failed live. If you were still on the fence about this gun, that moment was a cold dose of reality. Now you're probably asking, how does a gun like this jam in front of everyone? So what happened? The ammo. The officer was using Winchester wide box .45 gap rounds. Not exactly known for their reliability, but come on, this was a live demo. How could this happen? If the Glock couldn't perform under these conditions, how could you trust it when the stakes are high? Now let's take a step back. What if that was a real emergency? What if the gun jammed in the middle of a firefight? It wasn't just embarrassing, it was dangerous. What if the officer's life depended on that gun? Imagine a high-stress situation with a gun that refuses to work. That's not just inconvenient, that's deadly. Here's the real kicker. The Glock 37's biggest flaw? It needed .45 gap ammo, a round that never really caught on. It's hard to find, crazy expensive, and let's be honest, just impractical as hell. Compare that to a 9mm Glock. cheap, easy to find ammo, and let's not forget, a 9mm Glock holds more rounds. The Glock 37, just 10. 10 rounds? Really? In a world where high-capacity mags are the standard? That's a joke. Trust me, there are way better, more reliable options out there. Seriously, you'll thank me later. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, the Glock 45 Gap is here, waiting to disappoint you even more. I felt it would transform the game. The Glock 45 Gap is smaller than a 45 ACP, but hits just as hard. It sounded great, right? I remember picking up the full-size Glock 37 and thinking I was about to try something new. I was loaded up and fired that first shot. The recoil hit strongly, but that was okay. I was ready for it. Then, bam, another jam. I cleared it and shot again, but it jammed again. And one more. I spent more time adjusting the gun than shooting it by the time I was done with one magazine. That's when I figured out that this rifle isn't as good as people say it is. The Glock 45 Gap is the definition of a letdown. What sounded like a good concept turned into a nightmare at the range. I'll tell you why. The Glock 45 Gap was meant to change the world of pistols when it came out in 2003. Glock wants to provide people with the power of a 45 ACP in a smaller, easier to handle frame. They even made the 45 Gap cartridge to make it work. It's powerful, but small. I thought it was a great concept. Small enough to hide, but strong enough to stop threats. But here's the bad news. Everything went wrong. Bullets, not easy to locate. Costly, and when do you discover it? It's often not the same every time, which might cause misfeeds and failures to extract. When your life is on the line, you can't afford things like that. And the gun? It wasn't just picky about ammo, it was picky about everything. There were problems all the time, not just a few small ones. The Glock 37, the full-sized variant, and its 45 Gap chamber were supposed to represent the future, but they didn't work out. A song that only had one hit and never made it past its release. What's even worse? I could tell that I wasn't the only one who was upset. Glock thought that the G38 and G39 would resolve the problem by being smaller versions of the G38 and G39. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Glock finally gave up in 2025 and quietly stopped making all 45 Gap versions from the Glock 37 to the Glock 39. The harm was done, and the 45 Gap was just a little part of Glock's history. If you're still thinking of getting a Glock 45 Gap, do yourself a favor and go. There isn't much ammo for it, and you can't be sure it'll work. So it's better to spend your money on something that actually does. The 45 Gap sounded excellent on paper, but it turned out to be a dead end for a Glock that cost them more than just sales. Believe me, I learned the hard way that there's no space for gimmicks when your life depends on your gun working every time. The Glock 45 Gap was more than just a letdown. It taught me that not every, quote, new idea is worth the hoopla. And now, the next one on this list, it's not just a letdown, it's a gun that made headlines for all the wrong reasons. Keep watching, because you won't believe what happened to this one. Would you believe me if I said that there was a gun so small you could hide it in your hand, but it hits like a freight train? Well, here it is, the Glock 33. On paper, this thing looks amazing, compact, powerful, and reliable, but here's the thing. Just because it sounds perfect doesn't mean it is. The Glock 33 fires 357 SIG rounds, which were designed in the 1990s for police work. The 357 SIG gives you the power and speed of a 357 Magnum revolver in a semi-automatic pistol. Sounds great, right? A small gun with a punch of something much larger. But before you get too excited, there's a lot more to this pocket rocket than meets the eye. Let's start with its size. The Glock 33 is only 6.5 inches long, 4.2 inches tall, and about 1.18 inches wide. It weighs less than 22 ounces when unloaded, about the weight of a bottle of Coke. Compact, lightweight, and easy to carry. Perfect for concealed carry, right? Well, not exactly. Being small doesn't mean it's perfect. The recoil? It's a monster. The 357 SIG cartridge shoots at speeds of over 1,350 feet per second. That's a lot of power packed into such a small gun. When you pull the trigger, you hear a loud crisp crack followed by a strong kick. It's not unimaginable, but for beginners, it can be tricky to control. You need a solid grip and good technique to keep this thing on target, and even experienced shooters will tell you it's not always comfortable. And let's talk about the capacity. The Glock 33 holds just 9 rounds in the magazine and 1 in the chamber. That's it. Sure, it works with larger Glock magazines like the 15-rounder from the Glock 22, but why settle for a smaller gun with more recoil and less capacity if you can get the same power in a more manageable package? There's no reason to sacrifice firepower for size when other compact models can offer better control and a larger magazine capacity. But here's where it gets tricky. The 357 SIG ammo is expensive and not always easy to find. If you're carrying for self-defense, over-penetration is a big concern too. The 357 SIG rounds are known to punch through targets and walls, which could put innocent bystanders in danger. For most civilian defense situations, over-penetration isn't something you want to risk. The Glock 33 on paper seems like a dream gun. Powerful, compact, reliable. But in practice, it's a bit of a nightmare. Between the snappy recoil, limited magazine capacity, expensive ammo, and over-penetration risk, this isn't a gun you'll want to rely on. Sure, it's fun to shoot out the range, but when you need it most, it could be more trouble than it's worth. And just when you thought it couldn't get even worse, there's one more Glock I couldn't resist throwing in here. You'll see why at the end. And here's a bonus Glock I thought would be my dream carry, but turned out to be my biggest regret. Alright guys, you've stuck with me through some wild Glocks, but now it's time for the bonus Glock. So there I was, standing at the counter, Glock 48 in my hand. All the buzz had been about it, the perfect balance between concealability and performance. The Glock 43 was too small for me, and the Glock 19 felt too bulky for daily carry. But this, the Glock 48, was supposed to be the perfect middle ground. A little thinner, a little more firepower. It was like the Glock gods had finally answered my prayers. I took it to the range, anticipation practically killing me. This is it, I thought. This is finally the Glock I've been looking for. I aimed, pulled the trigger, and nothing felt right. The first few shots weren't terrible, but as I shot more, I started to notice something weird. The grip felt off. It was like it was trying to be a Glock 43, but it wasn't small enough to be one. Then, it tried to be a Glock 19, but it wasn't big enough. So, what was it? It was a gun caught in the middle, and honestly, it felt like a compromise and not the good kind. The 10-round magazine? Meh. Sure, the extra rounds are nice, but it didn't change the fact that this gun felt like an uncomfortable stretch of what could have been. It wasn't as reliable as I'd hoped, especially when it came to recoil control. It was all over the place with my shots, and that slim frame, yeah, it was easy to carry, but it was also too unbalanced to make it enjoyable to shoot. The more I shot it, the more I realized the Glock 48 wasn't solving anything. It was supposed to be my Goldilocks gun, but it ended up being the one I didn't care about. Too much to be a pocket gun, too small to be a full size. So there you have it. 5 Glock pistols you should never carry. While Glock is a trusted brand, these models fall short when it comes to reliability, comfort, and performance. Don't make the mistake of trusting your safety to the wrong firearm. like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends so you can help them avoid making the same costly mistakes as I did. I'm Steve. Stay safe out there and make smarter choices.